cell is bounded from outside by the plasma membrane. Let it be plant cell or animal cell. Both types of cells, they are having plasma membrane, and plasma membrane is not only providing the limiting membrane which is containing all the cellular content, but it is also having another characteristic, that it is selectively permeable. That means all the materials or all the substances which have to move out of the cell or they have to come into the cell, they have to move through the plasma membrane. And plasma membrane being selectively permeable may allow certain substances to pass through it, and certain substances may not be allowed to pass through it. We have also studied the structure of the plasma membrane. In the membrane, there are certain proteins which are facilitating the movement of different ions, and there is presence of sodium potassium pump also. The function of sodium potassium pump is that it is moving 3 sodium ions out and taking 2 potassium ions inside by utilizing 1 ATP. So that means there will be unequal distribution of sodium and potassium ions across the membrane. In the resting neuron, the sodium ion is more outside and potassium is more inside. So because of this, there will be difference in the chemicals which are present outside and toward the inner side. Because nature of potassium ion and sodium ions are different, so because of that there will be difference in the concentration of sodium and potassium ion across the membrane. This is called as the chemical gradient. Because when the sodium potassium pump is working, then it is moving 3 sodium ions out which are positively charged and moving 2 potassium ions toward the inner side which are again positively charged. So what is happening here? That 3 positive charges are moving out and 2 positive charges are moving in. So because of that, the outer side of the membrane will be more positively charged. Because of this, there will be some electrical gradient too. So that means electrical gradient is because of the difference in the charges, and chemical gradient is due to difference in the chemical substances, the concentration of chemical substances. These two differences, they are called as electrochemical gradient. When there is electrochemical gradient, then there will be the push which is caused due to the difference in the charges, that is called as voltage, and because of this there will be flow of charge or the potential difference. Membrane potential is the difference in total charge when we are taking total charge outside and inside of the membrane. That is called as the membrane potential. So when we say that membrane potential of a resting neuron is minus 70 millivolt, that means that the inside of the membrane is 70 millivolts more negative than the outer side. So this is regarding the resting neuron. When there is stimulus, then the resting neuron, it may go into the excited state if it is able to cross the threshold potential. Now this is the status when we are talking about the membrane. What about the inner side of the cell? The inner side of the cell is electrically neutral because these charges, they are developing only around the membrane. Towards the inner side, the concentration gradient and electrical gradient of each type of ions is equal and opposite. That means it is in the state of electrochemical equilibrium. So this means that the membrane potential is developing only across the membrane, whereas the inside of the cell remains electrically uncharged or electrically neutral.